Hello, everyone. Good Friday afternoon. You're listening to the Dolores Reyes Show. Talk to me on Life Media Network. I'm here today with my co-host, Alice Butler Short, and my inspiration. Alice, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here and I can hear you. And I may have to jump off early today, but I will let you know. Um, as you know, I'm preparing for a huge birthday event for our president on Sunday.
Yes, I know. Tell us a little bit about that.
Uh, well, we felt that in this negative environment which is created by the media for truthful, we needed to do something uplifting. And
Yes,
so we have 530, and I think 500 will be women, about 30 men. We're sold out for a high tea birthday celebration, the Trump Hotel, on Sunday. It will be very joyful, it will be very spiritual, um, it will be a lot of fun, but it takes a huge amount of organization, and I practically haven't slept for 3 nights.
oh boy. So you need to take some more coffee so that you can stay awake and
And
get
I
you
don't
through.
drink coffee.
Oh, okay. Well, you need tea or something, I tell you. Well, anyway, I'm going to be there.
Adrenaline. I'm running on adrenaline.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be there, and you're going to be there. So if our friends and Facebook people and fans and listeners want to come, we're going to be there. So you'll get the opportunity to meet us. Um,
Yes, and there is a new Facebook page. I will give it to you to get people to get on there and like it. We will be live streaming from 2 to 6 p.m.
okay.
on Sunday.
That sounds real super. I'm glad we're going to be live streaming it. Let me just say
Yes,
this.
and the Facebook page is Virginia Women for Trump, but it's not the one that exists now. It is a new one where nobody can go on and post
Yeah.
anything.
Well, don't worry about that. We'll get to that, and we'll deal with the streaming. So much has happened, as usual. The left snowflakes are feeling so badly damaged because they can't accept defeat. Let's get to our question for discussion. Alice, will you read the first two questions for us?
Uh, I have to admit I have been sitting at my computer doing all the other stuff, and I do not. So, would you please read the
Oh,
question?
yes, I have them all.
Yes.
The left continues to speak and do hateful things to the Trump administration. Why do you think the left is having such a difficult time with letting go of their anger and hate? Number two, the Republicans win again. The special election is over in South Carolina and in Georgia, 6th District. And the Republican Karen Handel won. It proves that the American people want don't want what the left is selling. Americans are not buying into the hype anymore. Let's talk about this week's special elections. Okay? Number three, why do you think that the members of the Congressional Black Caucus won't meet with the president when the black community needs all of the help from the Trump administration that it can possibly get? Why didn't the Obama administration try to get the American college student Otto Warmbier out of North Korea? What was preventing the former administration from acting on this American's behalf? If you were president of the United States, what would you do about North Korea? Oh boy. So let's get us started.
Wow, I'm not sure we cover all that.
But we're going to talk about the election in Georgia. Republican.
Can we get back to your very first question?
Sure, let's get to our very first question.
The very first question about why they can't let go of their hatred, etc.
Yes, why can't they let go of their hate?
I will tell you why. This is where we have run into a problem in this country, where God has been taken out of our lives. If one is truly connected with God, then there is no hatred in your heart, and we will accept. Give God what is God, and to Caesar what is Caesar's. So it is all a matter of where these people stand with God. One cannot say, I am a Christian with love in my heart and hate anyone. If you hate your brother, you are not abiding by God's will. So I think if even the people who did not vote for President Trump would look into their hearts and release all anger and let that love and that light shine in their hearts and allow this president to do what he wants to do, which is to lift up every single person in this country.
Oh, absolutely. Now, let me just say this. As I have researched and looked into this problem, like why can't they seem to get over it? And I ran across some very interesting information. It's not only that they are angry, they feel dejected and rejected, and they're also having this internal strife within the Democratic Party. It's sort of like a tug of war between the leadership and the rank and file voters of the Democratic Party. So what's been happening is this. They are messageless. They don't have a message. And they are very, very upset now. They really feel dejected now because of the elections in North Carolina, in South Carolina, and in Georgia. They had made a referendum on this particular election in Georgia. They put everything into this. They spent $30 million on this election.
Yes, and they said
wait a minute, hold on.
Who did not even live in that district.
Well, wait a minute, hold on.
All of the celebrities and all of
Alice,
the
I need to talk. And then subsequently, the Planned Parenthood also spent almost $1 million on trying to help him. So they were all in for this person. They claimed that this referendum was going to be a referendum on Trump and Trump's administration and how the American people didn't want him to be president and didn't want him to lead, and that it was also a precursor to how it was going to look in 2018 election. Well, guess what? They lost. They lost miserably. She beat him by 6 clear points, and they spent all that money for nothing. And I'm angry that Planned Parenthood had the gall to spend almost $1 million on a losing campaign. Well, anyway, the proof is in the pudding. The Trump train goes on. There is no change. The Americans have categorically again rejected them. So they're very dejected, and so they're angry and they're hateful, and no matter how they slice the pie, at the end of the day, Donald Trump and this administration is the president of this country, and his goals, views, and objectives for this country is moving forward. Now, Alice, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Well, what I think is that, the average person, the average Democrat, they don't have feelings like that in their heart, but they need to stop. They need to stop and, push away the din of the media. Look at this person. Look at our president. Look at his policies. Look at what he has done already and what he wants to do for this country. Everything that he wants to do for this country is good. Everything that he wants to do is to safeguard our sovereignty, our national security, to safeguard every people, every person. And, one issue like pro-life, pro-choice, we just don't want babies killed.
Well, let me just say this. Alice, let me say this. Alice, I need to talk. I need to tell you something. Even though a congressperson got shot at, his staff and the 2 African-American Capitol Hill police officers and an aide, and were shot and killed by a Bernie Sanders supporter who was just so full of hate for the president. He had 6 congressmen on his list. He just was so hateful. They had this wonderful baseball game to try to save and try to unify ourselves between the Republicans and the Democrats, and it was this wonderful come-by-eye moment. Well, let me tell you what has happened since then. Bernie Sanders is calling for more demonstrations and disruptions of the Trump administration. The left has posted racist rants and information on the only African-American U.S. Senator, Tim Scott from South Carolina's Wikipedia information page. The deep state on the National Security Advisory Council have also been dragging their feet in an effort to not adhere to the subpoena that was issued. I'm trying to get to it. To not adhere to the subpoena that was issued against Susan Rice. They have Susan Rice, if you can remember. Do you remember this, Alice? That Susan Rice actually listened in on surveillance conversations of Trump and his campaign people that was not quite legitimate.
There was so much information about what they call the unmasking of people and the illegal unmasking of people that was done
Yes.
by people like Susan Rice, by Obama, by other people in the in his administration through the FBI, that it would bother your mind. We don't have time to go through that, this afternoon. But again, I would just want people to focus on the goodness of the man who is in office right now.
Well, that's obviously not happening because, Alice, because that's not happening because the deep state people within the National Security Council have actually told the Senate Investigation Committee that they have transferred all the tapes to the Obama library, and subsequently they cannot, and that the investigative community on the Senate will not and cannot touch those tapes for 5 years. So they have no intentions of working with us. They have no intentions of looking in the light. They aren't capable of doing that. Their hatred and their dejection and their defeat is not permitting them to see this light that you and I see. A show of unity that they had at the congressional baseball game was just a little sham. They were planning this all along, even prior to the baseball game and after the baseball game. They just started implementing it. So I think we're going to see more demonstrations because Bernie Sanders said he wants his people to do so. And I don't think that we're going to be healing. I think that we may have to go this alone, that the construct of bipartisan intermingling may be a thing of the past. Maybe this is a new direction in our democracy, that when the party's in power, they just take over. Look what Mitch McConnell had to do with the health care bill. Not one single Democrat signed on to this health care bill, even though it has some pretty good things in it. So subsequently, I don't know. I think we may have to look at things a little bit differently. Okay, do you want to talk about, we're going to talk about Otto now. Tell me a little bit about what you know about the Otto Warmbier case, and then I'll tell you what the findings were.
Yes. Oh dear. It's such a tragedy and so sad. This young man, he's been an adventurer, went to North Korea, and his big crime was that he took a poster from either the hotel room or the lobby, just a poster. It was a propaganda poster as a souvenir. And at the airport, someone tapped on his shoulder, and he was led away, and that's the last expression anyone saw of him. And that young man did not have, what did they say he had?
Brain damage, is that what you're talking about?
No, they blamed it on some stuff.
Oh, botulism.
Botulism, yes, he did not. He was beaten, or who knows what they gave him. And they only sent him home when they knew he was going to die, and he was brain damaged, could never recover anyway.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about his case from my research. Number one, you're right. He was in North Korea, he was in a hotel, and he took a banner down that had communist propaganda on it with the intent of stealing this particular banner. Well, they then came and arrested him. They had a trial for him. They did have a trial for him, and he got 15 years of hard labor in a Korean prison. So, his parents, and this is something I'm going to tell you what his father said. Mr. Warmbier said that he went to the Trump administration, and the Trump administration basically classified his son's issue as not important. He did not hear, pardon?
You said Trump administration.
I'm sorry, the Obama administration, not the Trump administration. The Trump administration is the one that saved it. The Obama administration classified this this college student's case as not important, quote unquote. And Mr. Warmbier, the father of Otto, is a long time Democrat, and he slammed Barack Obama, saying that the Obama administration failed his family and failed his son in a time that his family and his son needed their president. And he said, it wasn't until Donald Trump came into office that Donald Trump ordered them to reclassify his case. It said, I want you to look at this closer and stop classifying as not important. And Secretary Tillerman went all out. This is what Mr. Warmbier said. The Secretary Tillerman went all out to try to get his son and find out what was going on and to bring his son home. And it wasn't until the Trump administration came along that this actually happened. And he said he is forever, eternally grateful to Donald Trump and the Trump administration for helping him and his family in their time of need. So that is what happened in his case. Now tell me, if you, Nikita, were the President of the United States, where this is a hypothetical, you're not the President of the United States, you're not going to be the President of the United States, this is a hypothetical, what would you do about North Korea?
First, I would like to make a comment that someone posted on Facebook.
Okay.
They said that South Korea must be involved in the driving actions because they have the most to lose or gain. U.S. troops stationed there have spent decades preparing for the worst. I would start by bringing all the family members home and then go into full crisis prep mode.
Oh, that's really good.
Based on that comment from David Wilson, I agree with him. I agree that we need to spend and focus more on bringing our troops home. Let North Korea handle North Korea's issues alone, and let us step back, and we need to spend more time worrying about the issues here at home in America. We're in debt. We have outstanding numbers of homeless people. We have children missing. There's a lot of things that we could be spending preparing America versus spending our time and energy over there interfering with North Korea.
Absolutely. Okay, Alice, what's your thought?
My thoughts are that the Obama administration totally failed in this case. And we now have a president with a real heart who really cares about people and is not just looking at how to get power.
Tell me, Alice, what would you do? You got to answer the question. What would you do?
Answer the question.
The question is, if you were president of the United States, you're not the president, you're not going to be the president, but if you were president of the United States, what would you do with North Korea? This is a hypothetical, and that's the question I want you to answer.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so busy today.
I know.
I would do exactly what our president is doing. North Korea now knows that there's a new sheriff in town. North Korea knows now that this president isn't going to just take it. Our president is working with the Chinese, and I think over the next couple of years you will see big changes with regard to our policy with North Korea. I think what he is doing is absolutely what I would do.
Okay, in my view, let me tell you what I would do. I would do a hybrid between the two things. I do think that the money that we have in South Korea...
I'm not hearing you very well.
Can you hear me at all? This microphone is so far away from me, I just can't stand it.
It's not the microphone.
Anyway, I can't stand this microphone being this far away from me. I need to be close to it. I'm short, so I need to be close to it. I even have on heels. So, today I have on heels, Alice. Can you believe it? So, anyway, I would do a hybrid between the two. I do believe that self-sufficiency is very important. I think the Koreans need to handle the Korean problems. I think in 1950, when we spent all that time in the Korean Peninsula, that that was enough. That it's time to bring our troops from Korea home. Let's spend that money here And I also think that we need to work with the Chinese because they're communists, just like the North Koreans are communists.
Right. But,
And let
you
the
know,
two of them,
cannot-
wait a minute, Alice, I'm not finished. Let the two of them come together and let the Chinese lead the way in getting North Korea to stop trying to develop nuclear weapons that can hit the mainland of the United States. That's my main concern. Okay, tell me
It's
what you
not
were going
that
to say.
easy. We cannot. It's not
Nothing's
that easy. We
easy.
cannot
Nothing
go
in the world is
through
easy.
out.
It's not easy for me to talk to you on this phone with this microphone this high. So nothing
I
is
know,
easy.
but you cannot pull through South Korea. South Korea has to be protected. South Korea is small compared to North Korea. They would be in there tomorrow morning. We cannot do that.
Well-
What President Trump is doing, working behind the scenes with the Chinese, putting the onus on them to do something is absolutely what must be done.
Let
And
me-
making sure that the North Koreans know that they're not going to get away with things going forward.
Well, then let's talk about size of countries. England is a pretty small country too. England has the capacity to take care of itself. England is small too. El Salvador is as big as, let's see, Rhode Island. And a lot of countries in South America and Latin America are very small too. And they have their own military, and the United States aren't guarding them. So it is totally feasible and possible, irregardless of their size. Their economic capacity can permit them to start building, not immediately, can help them start building their own military. I don't see how size matters because their GDP is very, very high. It's maybe larger or equal to Russia's. So subsequently, I do believe that the South Koreans gradually can build up its own capacity. Same thing with Germany, same thing with Japan. All those other countries need to get off the American back and try to be self-sufficient and have their own military might with our help and develop their own capacity. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. Okay, what time is it? Are we running over time?
That would be the pipe dream, but it's each issue is very complex, and I don't think there's a simple answer.
There isn't a simple answer, and this is a hypothetical, so I can have my pipe dreams. Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so it's clear that the left has no intention of letting up on their false and fake hate speech against the administration. They are losing the American people with their insistence of serving up the same old, stale, washed up policies that they have been giving to the American people for years and years. Well, the American voters have had enough of their tired old policies. They want real change, not hope we change, but real change. They found this in the Trump administration and believe he can deliver us to a better tomorrow. So Alice, I need for you to please give us some words of inspiration to carry us through the weekend and through the week.
The words that come to me are the same words that always come to me. Walk in the light, connect with God, have a clear mind, have a clear soul, have a clear channel to God so that you can hear his voice and that there will be peace in this country and that people who want to cause problems close to a civil war, what they are doing is so wrong. So my word is the same. Pray, meditate, receive the light, and shine it forth. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Reach out and talk to me. This is the Dolores Reyes Show. Thank you so much for listening, for texting in, for calling in, whatever you did. I appreciate it so much. And thank you so much. We'll be back here next week, but we'll be on time this time. And hopefully Alice will be here. And I know that Nikita is going to be here. I know she's going to Africa pretty soon. So reach out and touch me, talk to me on Facebook, on Twitter, and also you can see me on eLife Media Network. I look forward to talking with you guys again next week. May God be the glory. Say amen to his majesty and grace.
Amen.